Sofi update here on the 8th. So the price action is absolutely atrocious, just up and down, back and forth. We're still pretty close to the lows here. So we haven't broken outside of the falling wedge yet, and I'm going to expand on the last video where I talked about that there's a possibility that the falling wedge could extend a lot longer. So if you draw these parallel lines out here, technically it could go all the way until like November before it has to break one way. So if that were the case, the first scenario, the bearish scenario, would be that this is actually A, B, C, something like that. That'd be the first scenario. That would basically just mean that our earnings were crap. Or maybe they'll just sell it off anyway because it doesn't really matter what our earnings are, right? So if that were the case, we could fall all the way down here till the end of October, maybe even into November, early November. So that's the first scenario. We would basically, and why is this possible too? Why is this possible? This looks pretty corrective to me overall. It's possible that this is still this, and then this is just a first wave. We're going to see something like this. But it's also possible that this is just a C wave. If it's a C wave, I would just be looking for something up here around like $7. And this would probably end up being something like that. And then that would end up being the overall D wave. So going back to this, that would end up being so if the falling wedge wants to continue, it's still possible. So you got to leave that scenario open, especially now that this looks more corrective. Now let's get back to the move that we all want, which is the impulse move higher. And that's still possible. Like I said, this still can be an impulse move. This would be wave 1 right here. This would be wave 2. And then we'd probably get some kind of nested move. But this is completely invalidated if this goes below 629. So below 629, then you're probably looking at some kind of corrective move. I would say this is a C wave down right here. Whoops. C wave down right here. So that's a second wave. So if we break below this, then it's probably some kind of corrective move where it's like WXY down, and then we're probably going to see like a C wave into earnings. So right now, the price action isn't the most promising, but in the past, there's been some moves that started out like this, and they turned it into being crazy impulse moves where the price action went like, and then we just went straight up in a line for like a month straight. So it's hard to say which one's going to take place. The one thing I don't like and why the bearish scenario is actually still possible is because we're not making any progress. The market has been going straight up in a line for months now, and you'd think at some point we would actually get a bid, but we are just not going anywhere. So as far as the overall market too, on IWM, I'm seeing a ton of puts being bought on the black box. That's not promising either. So it is possible that we run into earnings, and that's probably around the time the market could pull back. So that's another reason why the bearish scenario could take place. But again, it's hard to say which one is going to play out because we look back at this move right here. Everyone was in the same mind frame they are now. We were all really annoyed, and then all of a sudden we got a move from 644 up to 1050. So we're kind of in the same spot right here. Everyone's super annoyed. Everyone's mad at Noto, wondering why the share price can't go anywhere. And then maybe we'll end up getting that big move higher. So we'll see. That's all I can really say. I mean, The TA, it's really hard to say without the price moving that much. We're just chopping around. So those are the two scenarios I see, and that's pretty much it for the update for now. I'll keep you updated. I'm sure we'll get some movement, though, over the next couple of weeks into earnings. We should. And if not, then we should definitely be popping on earnings. That's it. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.